Hello there and welcome to So You Pick Job Edition, where we look into your toolkit at level 30, how and where to get your jobs done, and also have a look at your starter job gauge. Hey Rin, new outfit I see. Good, looking pretty stylish, my dude. Go on, strike that pose. Right. Today we're going to be looking at the first of two job stones that Arcanist can get their hands on. This one being focusing on Summoner this time, which is a straight up advancement to the Arcanist's DPS side. The other option is to go with Scholar, but that's going to be a separate video. It's the only class in the game, that can turn into two different jobs, which has its perks and its disadvantages. It's mainly on the Scholar side where things get a bit strange. We're going to get that one in the Scholar video. Now, Summoner is one of my favourite jobs. I do like the Summoners. I do like the Summoner. It is pretty stylish at later levels. Quite cool anyway in general, but gets cooler the more you play it. That being said, let's just jump straight back into the toolkit. Right guys, before we get on to the toolkit proper, we are going to be starting with the finishing spells of Arcanist. Starting where we left off. We're going to talk about Energy Drain first. Get two skills at level 18. First one being Energy Drain. Now, Energy Drain will deal unaspected damage with a potency of 100, so it'll do a little bit of damage every time you use it. But its primary purpose is to generate 2 stacks of what's called Ether Flow. Now, what Ether Flow is, can call it points, can call it currency that you can use to perform certain summoner actions. In this case, the first one you get will be for summoner, will be Fester, which is the other level 18 skill. Now you can tell how many stacks of Ether Flow you have by looking at the job gauge, your basic job gauge, which is this one right here on the screen. You'll know how many you've got because when you have 2 stacks, it's lit up with 2 crystals. The 2 crystals are lit up. Obviously, every time you use one of the skills that requires it, it'll turn out one of the lights. And nextly, the other level 18 skill is Fester. Now, what that does is it will deal unaspected damage with a potency of 100. However, if you have both your bio and your miasma buffs on the enemy that you're using Fester on, the potency of the move will be increased to level 200 to 200 for one effect. If you've just got bio or just got miasma, it'll boost it to 200. If you have both, which you should always try and get both on, it will raise it to 300. And obviously the effect will only apply when the original spells were cast by you. So if another summoner or another Arcanist puts bio and miasma on the enemy, your Fester will do the base damage. It's only multiplied by your dot skills. Now next, at level 26, you will get bio 2. Now bio 2 is a straight up swap. It will replace bio 1 on your hotbar automatically when you are 26 or above. If you then get synced underneath that, it will revert back to bio. It'll do so automatically, you don't have to worry about it. Bio 2 has a potency of 30 as opposed to 20. It will do more damage over time and it lasts for 30 seconds. Next up, at level 30, you will get Bane. Now, Bane is one of the best AoE skills for Summoner. It is a thing of beauty. It makes dealing with large mobs incredibly easier because what it does is it will spread your target's bio and miasma effects to any enemies that are nearby it. Now the potency is reduced by 60% for all the remaining enemies, and the time remaining on the dots will be for all the enemies you hit with Bane will be the same as the original enemy that you attacked. Now, it has an additional effect. It has a 15% chance that bio and miasma durations will reset if it's shorter than the original effect duration. If you don't have any dots applied, however, to the enemy that you use Bane on, nothing will happen. There is no damage, and nothing will be spread. Now, what that does is means in combat, especially group combat, you can hit one enemy with Bio and Miasma, and then you can hit Bane, and it'll spread it through all the enemies in the group, making it much easier to hit everything with your dots. Now, before we jump on to the getting the job stone and stuff, we're going to blast through the last two Arcanist skills that you'll get. Now, these will just pop automatically as you reach the level, even when you're on this with the Summoner Stone. At level 38, you will get Ruin 2, which is the same as Ruin, but it's instant cast. Now, that one you would use if you're dodging enemies or dodging AoEs. You can pop a few Ruin 2s instead of using Ruin 1. It comes into play a bit more later on as well when in Summoner. We don't really have to worry about that right now. It has a potency of 160 instead of the 180 of Ruin. So you wouldn't spam Ruin 2 as your normal Ruin spell, as your normal damage stealing spell. You would still use Ruin as much as you can, blast them, and then if you need to move, you would hit Ruin 2 as you're moving, and then go back to Ruin 1, or reapply your dots, whatever's going on. And then lastly for Arcanist, at level 40, you will get Eggy Assault 2, which will command your Carbuncle / Summon to do your Summon's second ability. And so then you would have Eggy Assault 1 and Eggy Assault 2, so you have two different spells for them to use. And you should use that pretty much the same as Eggy Assault 1. I tend to do them back to back. Weave them in whenever you can. Right guys, so that finishes off the toolkit for Arcanist. Now we're going to jump into the toolkit for Summoner. But first thing first, we have to actually get the Summoner Stone. Summoner Job Stone. Now there's 3 requirements in order for you to progress to Job Stones, or the job side of things. Firstly, you need to be level 30 on the starter class for that job. In this case, Arcanist. Secondly, you need to be past the main story quest called Self-Management, which is around the level 20 in the main story quests. And lastly, you need to have done all of your class quests for Arcanist, including the 31. Now, the level 31 will point you in the direction of your job masters. So for your level 30 quest, obviously you'll come back to your guild, which in our case is right here. Right here in the Arcanist Guild in Dimsa. And there'll be 2 side quests in here once you've done your level 31. One which will point you to Summoner, and the other one which will point you to Scholar. Now the Scholar one we're going to deal with in the Scholar video. So for now, we would take the Summoner one. Summoner one will lead you off to Gridania to meet a lovely woman, lovely Makote woman. So we're going to spare you the trip. We're going to jump straight there. Right guys, so if you follow the Summoner job quest, or your first Summoner class quest, you will end up here in lovely Old Gridania, right at the spot right here, which I'll post the coordinates a bit bigger on the map on the screen as well. Now finish her quest, and you will be granted with your Summoner Stone, your Summoner Job Stone, and your first job skill, which in this case is Summon 3. Now, before I get access to that, you go into your character menu, and then right at the bottom right hand corner here, you will get your soul crystal slot. Now you would come in here and you would equip the Soul of the Summoner, which then turns you into a summoner. And you will gain access to all the summoner skills. Now, once you've put on your Summoner Soul Crystal, there is no need at all to take it off and become an Arcanist again. So once it's on, make sure you set your gear set so you don't have to forget about it, like so, and you're good to go. Right, guys. So once you have your job stone equipped, first thing first, you will notice mine is set up already. You will notice that your hotbar, your summoner hotbar, will be completely messed up because your summoner hotbar is different to your Arcanist one, so it doesn't automatically transfer over, which is a little bit annoying. However, there's a few things you can do. You can do for that. Firstly, you can either just relay your hotbar manually if you remember how everything was. Secondly, what some people do is they will take a photo or a screenshot of their Arcanist hotbar and then use that to redo the summoner hotbar as to how it was. Lastly, which is what I tend to do, is there are two what's called macros, two text commands that you can use in order to copy the Arcanist hotbar straight to your summoner hotbar, which I find easier. I will post those two text commands. There's a different one for PC and there's a different one for cross hotbar. I'll post them on screen now. Right, so once we've got our lovely summoner hotbar on the go again, we're going to jump into the summoner job skills. So once you've got your job stone unlocked and equipped, you will get access to a whole set of new toolkit skills. You will keep all of your, on summoner anyway, you'll keep all of your class skills up to that point, as well as two that you'll get later on. And you will get a new addition called job with a whole load of job skills. So your actions and traits menu will change from this over to this, and your first summon ability, which you get at level 30, is Summon 3, which is a lovely new summon. It is an Ifrit called Ifrit Eggy. It's like a mini Ifrit summon. And what he does is he's an attacker type pet, and he is incredibly good at one-on-one combat, doing solo one-on-one fights. You would use him against bosses generally, and he will technically replace Summon 2, which you sadly you will very rarely use Topaz combo until ever again once you have Summon 3. Topaz needs some more love. He does. I wish they would do something new with him. He's kind of over by the wayside. He's been over by the wayside for quite some time now. However, Summon 3 is where it's at. Ifrit Eggy. He's a damn good DPS. Now at level 35, you will get a ability called Energy Siphon. Now what that is, it's an AoE version of Energy Drain. It will hit multiple enemies, and it will also replenish your Ether Flow stacks. So obviously if you're fighting with multiple mobs, you would use Energy Siphon instead of Energy Drain. At level 40, you will get a spell called Outburst. Now what that does is it deals unaspected damage with a potency of 70 to your target and all enemies nearby it, so it's a nice little AoE spell. Now you'd use that obviously in dungeons, or if you're fighting multiple enemies at a time, you would spam Outburst instead of spamming Ruin. Right, next, at level 50, you will get a move called Enkindle. Now what that does is, when you use it, it will command your pet, your currently selected pet, to use its signature attack. I call it its limit break. Hits for quite hard. It's a nice skill to use after you've used your 2 Eggy Assault skills. Right, so at level 52, you will get Pain Flare. Now that deals unaspected damage with a potency of 130 to the target and all enemies nearby it. And that uses 1 of the Ether Flow stacks. And you would use that obviously in an AoE situation. So, if you're in a mob group, you would use Pain Flare. If you are fighting one-on-one, you would switch to Fester. Now next, at level 54, you will get Ruin 3. Now Ruin 3 is a straight up replacement for Ruin 1. Like Bio 2, if you go underneath level 54, if you're synced in content underneath level 54, it will revert back to Ruin 1. Now next up, at level 56, you will get a move called Try Disaster. And this is what this does is, it deals unaspected damage with a potency of 150, but it also afflicts your target with Bio 2 and Miasma at the same time with 1 skill. So you would pop Try Disaster and then hit Bane, and that would apply both dots at the same time and spread them with Bane. Instead of using 3 skills, you'd end up using 2 skills. Now that can only be used every 50 seconds. You will probably need to redo your Bio and Miasma manually. That comes into play. There's another little trick with that later on. Next, at level 58, you will get Dreadworm Trance. And what that does is, that reduces your spell casting time by 2.5 seconds, which basically makes everything, all of your abilities for 15 seconds, they are turn into instant cast. The additional effect for that as well is it will reset the Try Disaster recast timer. So once you pick, let's see, once you've got Try Disaster on, if that's on cooldown, if you pop Dreadworm Trance, that will reset your Try Disaster timer, which comes in a bit handy because you can use it then to reapply your dots quicker. And you can use Dreadworm Trance every 55 seconds. And then last but not least, for this tutorial at least, at level 60, you will get Death Flare, which is your first big summoner boomed skill. What that does is, that deals unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 400 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Big AoE skill. You can only use that when you're in Dreadworm Trance, and Dreadworm Trance will disappear once you've used it. So you tend to use that towards the end of the timer on Dreadworm Trance. You would pop, for your burst damage, you would pop Dreadworm Trance, last for 15 seconds. And then you would spam Ruin 3 until you have about 3 seconds left. It's about safe. Once you reach 3 seconds left on your Dreadworm Trance, then you would cast Death Flare. And then you would go back into your normal rotation. And that is, for this tutorial at least, that is all your summoner skills. So guys, that has been our first look into the summoner job. It should sort you out quite well up until level 60. Now we haven't, after level 60, the basic rotation starts to change a little bit. So we're going to be doing a third, like more advanced tutorial at a later date. Rin, you've grown up so fast. You've got quite a few fans actually as well. You've got quite a few fans now. You're gonna blow them a kiss. All right. Rin says thank you very much for the support, and he's very happy that you like him. So hopefully this has shed a bit of light onto Summoner as a basic Summoner, how to unlock it, stuff like that. Hopefully it has been as useful to you as the first tutorial seemed to have been. A lot of comments on that one, a lot of likes on that one, and a lot of interaction with it. Hopefully this has helped you. If it has, obviously let me know in the comment section below. If it hasn't, let us know. You can feel free to answer any questions that we've got going. I may revisit this one as well, if you want some more information. We're going to be doing a third one with the more advanced stuff at a later date, like I said. Thank you all for watching. If you are new here, feel free to come hang out, come check out some other stuff we've got going on. We'll have tutorials for all the start classes. So beginner beginner guides for it, beginner guides for the game in general, character creation stuff, little things like that. Lots to see. I have loads of other videos on the channel as well, different games. If you're not new here and you're returning, thank you very much for the support. It is always much appreciated. And you all know what's coming. Please like, share, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. And as always, I shall see you on the flip side. Bye bye.